The light wraps you in its mortal flame, abstracted pale mourner, standing that way against the old propellers of the twilight that revolves around you. Speechless, my friend, alone in the loneliness of this hour of the dead, and filled with the lives of fire, pure air of the ruined day. A bow of fruit falls from the sun on your dark garment. The great roots of the night grow suddenly from your soul, and the things that hide in you come out again, so that a blue and pallid people, your newly born, takes nourishment. O magnificent and fecund and magnetic slave of the circle that moves in through black and gold, rise, lead, and possess a creation so rich in life that its flowers perish and it is full of sadness. The Light Wraps You, a poem written by Chilean politician and poet Pablo Neruda in 1924 as the second poem in his book 20 Love Poems and a Song of Despair, presents an exploration of mankind's strength and of its weakness, and reminds its reader that in all things in life there is and must be incredible beauty and grotesque pain. In this video, we will be doing an analysis of the version of this poem, translated from Spanish into English by W.S. Merwin. The light wraps you in its mortal flame, abstracted pale mourner, standing that way against the old propellers of the twilight that revolves around you. In the opening line of this poem, Neruda sets the scene of a beautiful twilight. The day is ending and a change has come, the light being mortal as the sun's light comes to an end at the end of the day. The muse of this poem, the abstracted pale mourner, is now subjected to the changing surroundings, and is a mourner because she is mourning the day that is now over. Speechless, my friend, alone in the loneliness of this hour of the dead, and filled with the lives of fire, pure air of the ruined day. The subject of this poem now stands alone in a serene night. She is the pure air of the ruined day as she gathered experiences and emotions throughout the day, and while her surroundings are quiet and peaceful, those experiences and emotions are still fresh and powerful within her. In the previous verse, the woman was referred to as abstract, possibly because she is so wrapped up in thought and reflection. The phrase, "the ruined day," suggests that the subject is in a depressed and unfortunate state. This line almost foreshadows the following one. A bow of fruit falls from the sun on your dark garment. The line, your dark garment, as well as the previous lines, abstracted pale mourner, and of this hour of the dead, indicate the subject of this poem is at a funeral, most likely mourning the day that has ended. The bow of fruit most closely represents a child coming under her authority. The child falls from the light into her sullen world as something positive and fortunate. A fruitful opportunity has now appeared. The great roots of night grow suddenly from your soul, and the things that hide in you come out again, so that a blue and pallid people, your newly born, takes nourishment. If night here represents affliction and sorrow, that affliction and sorrow is now beginning to truly consume the subject. This part of the poem is a little confusing, but very deep. Now that the subject is engulfed by the night and its misfortune, the subject's child may be nourished, or more so that the subject cannot provide for the child. Perhaps this is to say that suffering is and must be a part of everything we do. It isn't until we know pain that we can indulge ourselves or provide for anyone or anything. O magnificent and fecund and magnetic slave of the circle that moves in through the black and gold. Neruda begins the final stanza of this poem by remembering the beauty and the power of the subject, calling her magnificent and fecund and magnetic, but then immediately counters that power he stated by calling her a slave of the circle that moves in turn through the black and gold. That circle, representing the sun, as well as the previous comparisons of daytime to positive things and nighttime to negative things, essentially calls the subject a slave to change around her. Rise, lead, and possess a creation so rich in life that its flowers perish and it is full of sadness. In the hauntingly beautiful last line of the poem, Neruda gives an inspiration and restates the idea of the importance of pain, as well as its prevalence throughout history. He says, "Harness your strength and create life so you can infuse that life with pain and desperation, as pain and desperation is a part of life. It always has been and it always will be." Some may interpret this poem to be a depressing reflection of the world we live in, and there is certainly quite the argument for that, but I choose to interpret this poem as a reminder that the difficulties we go through as people are a valuable resource. Possibly the only way for us to really meet the challenges ahead is to draw from our past, especially the more painful past. The one thing that really confuses me is why Neruda calls the subject a slave of change in the second to last stanza. Maybe the intention is to give a negative but important reminder that while humans harbor beauty, intellect, and power, we still are only humans and there are things we cannot change. Still, I'm not really sure how this fits into the poem. If anyone has any thoughts on this, I'm sure we would all love to see them in the comments section. I'd like to give a big thanks to everyone who tuned in to watch this video. I would greatly appreciate any questions, comments, or criticisms in the comments section below. This is the second video of a series of mine, in which I'll be analyzing all the works within Pablo Neruda's 20 Love Poems and a Song of Despair. So if that piques your interest, I'd greatly appreciate it if you stuck around. Have a nice rest of your day, everyone.